Be my fake boyfriend, I blurted out to the stranger sitting next to me at the bar. He didn't even flinch. Just turned his head slowly, dark eyes locking onto mine like he was sizing up prey. The dim lighting of the upscale lounge made his sharp jawline look even more dangerous, and the black suit hugging his broad shoulders screamed money, old money, dangerous money. I'd had exactly 3 cocktails. Enough to loosen my tongue but not enough to make me stupid. Or so I thought. My ex is walking in right now, I rushed, nodding toward the entrance where Jay, my ex of 2 years, was strutting in with his new arm candy. Please. Just for tonight. I'll buy all your drinks. I'll pay you. Whatever. The stranger's lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. Pay me. His voice was low, velvet over steel. How much? 500. I offered desperately, already digging for my wallet. He leaned closer, the faint scent of expensive cologne and smoke hitting me. I don't need money, pretty boy. My heart stuttered. Pretty boy? Then, what do you want? He glanced over my shoulder, spotted Jay heading our way, and without warning, slid one strong arm around my waist, pulling me flush against his side. His hand settled possessively low on my hip. Relax, he murmured against my ear. I'll be your boyfriend tonight. Free of charge. Before I could process the heat of his body, Jay was there. Kai. Jay's voice dripped fake surprise. Didn't expect to see you here. I forced a smile. Yeah, just out with my boyfriend. Jay's perfectly groomed eyebrow arched as he eyed the man beside me. Boyfriend? Since when? 3 months, the stranger answered smoothly, extending his free hand. Luca. Jay shook it reluctantly, and I swear I saw him wince at the grip. Luca, Jay repeated, clearly trying to place the name. Have we met? I doubt it, Luca said, voice cold enough to frost the bar top. I don't run in your circles. The new guy on Jay's arm shifted uncomfortably. Jay forced a laugh. Well, good for you, Kai. You upgraded. Luca's fingers tightened on my hip. He did. The silence stretched, thick and awkward. Finally Jay muttered something about getting drinks and dragged his date away. I exhaled shakily. Thank you. Seriously. You're a lifesaver. Luca didn't let go. We're not done yet. What? Your ex is watching. He nodded subtly toward the mirror behind the bar. Sure enough, Jay kept glancing over. If we break now, he'll know it was fake. Right? Okay. I tried to ignore how good his arm felt around me. How long do we keep this up? Until he leaves. Or until I get bored. He ordered another whiskey, neat, and one for me without asking what I wanted. The bartender served him instantly, no eye contact, like he was scared to linger. Good. So, I said, trying to fill the charged silence. Luca, what do you do? He sipped his drink. Business. Vague. Dangerous to be specific. I laughed nervously. You're joking. He didn't laugh back. Over the next hour, Luca played the perfect boyfriend. Hand on my thigh under the bar. Leaning in to whisper things that made my face burn. Brushing my hair back when it fell into my eyes. Every touch deliberate, possessive, electric. Jay finally left around midnight, throwing one last sour look our way. I sagged in relief. He's gone. Thank you again. I owe you big time. Luca finished his drink and stood, towering over me. You do. I blinked. What? You begged a stranger to pretend to be your boyfriend. In my world, favors aren't free. My stomach dropped. Your world? He pulled out a sleek black card and slid it across the bar toward me. No name, just a phone number embossed in silver. Tomorrow night. 8 o'clock. Wear something nice. I'm sorry, what? Dinner. With your boyfriend. His eyes darkened. Unless you'd rather I tell your ex the truth? My mouth went dry. You wouldn't. I might. He leaned down, lips brushing my ear. Or I might not. Depends how convincing you are tomorrow. He walked away before I could respond, leaving me staring at the card like it was a loaded gun. I didn't know it then, but I just asked the most dangerous man in the city to be my fake boyfriend. Luca Rossi, head of the Rossi family. Mafia boss. ruthless, untouchable, and apparently mine for the foreseeable future. I should have run. Instead, I pocketed the card and felt a thrill I couldn't name. I stared at my phone the entire next day. The black card with the silver numbers sat on my kitchen counter like a bomb. I typed the digits in 3 separate times, thumb hovering over the call button, then deleted them every time. This was insane. I didn't even know the guy. He could be a serial killer. Or worse, a really good actor who was about to catfish me into some elaborate scam. But every time I thought about backing out, I remembered the way Jay's face had twisted when Luca called himself my boyfriend. The satisfaction of that moment was addictive. I wanted more. By 6 p.m., I was showered, shaved, and standing in front of my closet in nothing but a towel, panicking over where something nice meant when your fake boyfriend looked like he stepped out of a GQ Mafia edition. I settled on black slim-fit trousers, a deep burgundy silk shirt that Jay always said made my eyes pop, and the one decent watch I owned. Hairstyled, light cologne. I looked good. Nervous, but good. At 7:58 p.m., a text came through from the number I'd finally saved as Luca, do not answer. Unknown number * black Bentley. Downstairs. No hello. No emoji. Straight order. I grabbed my wallet and keys, heart hammering, and headed down. The car was idling at the curb, engine purring like a predator. Tinted windows, plates I couldn't read properly in the dark. The back door opened from the inside before I even reached it. Luca was in the back seat, one arm stretched along the leather, legs spread in that careless, powerful way. Black suit again, different cut, even sharper. No tie. Top 2 buttons undone. He looked like sin poured into fabric. Get in, he said. I slid in beside him. The door shut with a heavy thunk, and the car pulled away immediately. Hi, I managed. Nice to see you again. He didn't answer right away. Just looked at me, slow, deliberate, from my shoes up to my face. His gaze lingered on the shirt. Good choice, he finally said. The color suits you. Thanks. I swallowed. So, where are we going? A place I own. Of course he owned the restaurant. Why was I even surprised? The drive was silent except for the low hum of the engine. Luca scrolled through his phone, occasionally typing. I stole glances at him. Strong profile, the faint scar running through his left eyebrow I hadn't noticed before, the way his fingers moved with precision. 20 minutes later, we pulled up to a discreet building with no sign, just a single red lantern above the door. 2 men in suits stood outside. They nodded at Luca as we approached. Inside, it was all dark wood, low lighting, and jazz playing softly. Only 4 tables occupied, all by men who looked like they could break me in half. Every single one stood when Luca entered. He ignored them, hand on the small of my back guiding me to a private booth in the back. A waiter appeared instantly. Luca ordered in Italian, rapid, fluent. The waiter bowed and vanished. You speak Italian? I asked. My mother's side. He poured water for both of us. You. Only the menu words. Pasta, pizza, tiramisu. He smirked. Actually smirked. It transformed his face, made him look younger, almost human. The food came fast. Antipasti, handmade pasta with truffle, steak so tender it melted. Wine that probably cost more than my rent. I told him about my graphic design job, my tiny apartment, how Jay had cheated with his yoga instructor. Luca listened more than he spoke, but when he did, it was sharp. You let him walk over you for 2 years? I loved him. Love doesn't mean letting someone treat you like dirt. I bristled. Easy to say when you look like you. His eyes darkened. Looks don't protect you from everything. Something in his tone made me pause. But before I could ask, his phone vibrated. He glanced at it, jaw tightening. Excuse me, he said, standing. Stay here. He walked toward the back, disappearing through a door. I sipped my wine, trying not to feel abandoned. That's when I noticed the man at the nearest table staring at me. Mid-40s, slick hair, gold pinky ring. He raised his glass in a mock toast. I looked away. 2 minutes later, Luca returned, expression unreadable. We're leaving. Now? We haven't even had dessert. Now. He tossed a stack of bills on the table, way too much, and guided me out with that same hand on my back, firmer this time. In the car, he was tense. Silent. Did something happen? I asked. Nothing you need to worry about. Tell me anyway. He shot me a look. You don't want to know. Try me. The driver took a sharp turn. Luca's hand landed on my thigh to steady me, high up, fingers gripping. Someone recognized me, he said finally. With you. That's complicated. Complicated how? He didn't answer. Just stared out the window. We didn't go to my place. The car pulled up to a skyscraper downtown, all glass and steel. Where are we? My building. I didn't agree to. You want this to stay convincing? He cut in. Your ex is already asking questions. Friends saw us leave together. If you go home alone now, word spreads. I hesitated. One night, he said. Guest room. Separate. I won't touch you unless you ask. The way he said it, like he knew I might ask, sent heat rushing through me. I got out of the car. The penthouse was insane. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Minimalist, everything black and chrome. No personal photos. No clutter. Like a very expensive hotel. He poured himself a drink at the bar. Guest rooms down the hall. Towels in the bathroom. Help yourself. I lingered. Luca. Turned. Why are you doing this? Really? He took a slow sip. Maybe I like you. That's not an answer. Maybe I'm bored. Still not. He set the glass down and walked toward me, slow, deliberate. Stopped just close enough that I had to tilt my head back. Maybe, he said quietly, I saw the way you looked at me last night. Desperate. Brave. Stupid. And I thought, why not? My breath caught. So this is a game? Everything's a game. His fingers brushed my jaw, light as a threat. Question is, do you want to keep playing? I should have said no. I should have run. Instead, I whispered, yes. His eyes flared. Then his phone rang again, shrill, urgent. He cursed under his breath and stepped back. Go to bed, Kat. We'll talk tomorrow. I went to the guest room, heart racing, body buzzing. I didn't know it yet, but that call was about a rival family moving in on Rossi territory. And me? I was now collateral. Luca's fake boyfriend had just become a very real liability. Or a very real weakness. I woke up to the smell of coffee and the sound of low voices arguing in Italian. Sunlight poured through the floor-to-ceiling windows of the guest room, blinding me. For a second I forgot where I was, then everything slammed back. Luca, the dinner, the penthouse, the way he'd looked at me like he wanted to devour me whole. I checked my phone. 9:17 a.m. 3 missed texts from my best friend Miho. Miho *J posted a story last night. You okay? Miho *, who is that man? Miho * call me ASAP. Attached was a blurry photo J had reposted from someone else. Luca guiding me out of the restaurant, hand low on my back, my face turned toward him like I was already his. Great. The entire city was going to think we were real now. I pulled on yesterday's clothes, finger-combed my hair, and padded barefoot into the open-plan living area. Luca was at the kitchen island, shirtless, wearing only low-slung gray sweatpants. Tattoos I hadn't seen before crawled over his back and shoulders. Intricate, dark, dangerous. A lion's head on his shoulder blade. Roman numerals down his spine. A rose wrapped in thorns across his ribs. He was pouring coffee while 2 men in suits stood on the other side of the island. One had a scar across his cheek. The other kept glancing at the door like he expected an attack. They stopped talking the second I appeared. Luca turned, eyes sweeping over me. Morning. Hi, I said, voice scratchy. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. You're not. He dismissed the men with a tilt of his head. They left immediately, silent. He slid a mug toward me. Black coffee, no sugar, just how I liked it. How did you know? I pay attention. I wrapped my hands around the warm mug. Your friends don't like me. They don't like anyone. Especially not random guys sleeping over. He leaned against the counter, arms crossed, muscles flexing. Especially not random guys who could be used against me. My stomach flipped. Used against you? By who? He didn't answer. Just sipped his coffee, watching me over the rim. Luca, what do you actually do? Import-export. That's the vaguest answer in history. It's the truth. Fine. What do you import and export? Things people want. Things people shouldn't have. I set the mug down. You're scaring me. Good. He stepped closer. You should be scared. You walked up to me in a bar and asked me to play boyfriend. Now people think you're mine. That makes you a target. A target for what? Rivals. Enemies. Anyone who wants to hurt me. I laughed, short, nervous. You're being dramatic. His hand shot out, gripping my chin gently but firmly, forcing me to meet his eyes. 2 nights ago, a car followed us from the restaurant. Last night, someone took photos. This morning, my cousin called to tell me the Vitali family is asking questions about the pretty boy on my arm. Tali. Even I'd heard that name whispered in the city. Old Mafia, ruthless, at war with the Rossis for decades. I tried to pull away. He didn't let go. This isn't a game anymore, Kai. You said it was. I lied. My heart pounded. Then let me leave. End it now. He released my chin, but his body stayed close, caging me against the counter. I should. It would be safer for you. So do it. His jaw clenched. I don't want to. The air between us crackled. I could feel the heat radiating off his bare skin. Why? I whispered. Because the second you said, be my fake boyfriend, I wanted it to be real. I stopped breathing. He traced a thumb over my lower lip. And because you're the first thing in years that feels like it's mine. Not business. Not territory. Just mine. I should have run then. Should have grabbed my shoes and bolted. Instead, I rose on my toes and kissed him. He tasted like coffee and danger. Then his phone rang, loud, insistent. He tore away, cursing in Italian. Grabbed it off the counter. What? He snapped. His face went stone cold as he listened. I'll handle it. He hung up. What's wrong? Problem at one of the warehouses. He was already moving, grabbing a shirt from the couch. You're staying here. No way. I have work. Not today. He pulled the black tee over his head, tattoos disappearing. My men will drive you anywhere you need. But you don't go alone. Luca. This isn't negotiable. He cupped my face, thumb brushing my swollen lip. I just started having you. I'm not losing you. His lips touched mine, once more, quick, possessive, then headed for the door. Luca. He paused. Be careful. His smile was sharp. Always am. The door shut behind him. I sat on the counter for a long minute, touching my lips, reeling. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number * cute photo on Jay's story. You move fast. Unknown number * careful. Rossi boys don't share. My blood went cold. Someone was watching. And they knew exactly who Luca was. I looked around the penthouse, beautiful, empty, a gilded cage. I was in deep. And the worst part? I didn't want out. Not yet. The unknown texts kept coming. Unknown * he'll get bored of you in a week. Unknown * Rossi trash. Run while you can. Unknown * photo attached. Me leaving Luca's building this morning, taken from across the street. I blocked the number. 10 minutes later, a new one started. I didn't tell Luca. He had enough problems and I didn't want to look weak. Instead I called in sick to work, showered, borrowed one of his oversized black hoodies because it smelled like him, and paced the penthouse like a caged animal. By noon I was climbing the walls. I texted Miho. Me * need to get out. Coffee? Miho * bitch, you're alive. Spill everything. One of Luca's drivers, a silent brick wall named Marco, took me to the cafe. He parked right outside, engine running, eyes scanning the street the whole time. Miho was already at a corner table, vibrating with gossip. Holy shit, he hissed the second I sat down. Luca Rossi? The Luca Rossi? Kai, do you have a death wish? I froze. You know who he is? Everyone with half a brain knows who he is. His family owns half the city. The other half is terrified of them. Miho leaned in. How did this happen? I gave him the short version. Bar, J, fake boyfriend, now, not so fake. He grabbed my hand. Be careful. These guys don't do boyfriends. They do possessions. And when they're done. I know. But I didn't. Not really. My phone buzzed on the table. Luca asterisk, where are you? Back. Me asterisk, coffee with Miho. Marco's outside. 3 dots. Luca asterisk, come home now. He said home. Miho read over my shoulder. Yeah, you're screwed. In every sense. Marco dropped me back at the penthouse. The elevator opened straight into the living room, and Luca was waiting. He looked rough, shirt sleeves rolled up, hair messy like he'd been dragging his hands through it, faint blood on his knuckles. What happened? I asked, stepping closer. Warehouse issue got handled. He flexed his hand, winced slightly. You went out. You said Marco could drive me. I said anywhere you need. Coffee with friends wasn't a need. I bristled. I'm not your prisoner. He closed the distance in 2 strides, crowding me against the elevator doors. No, he said quietly. You're my weakness. And I don't like people knowing my weaknesses. His hand, the one with blood, cupped my jaw gently. I'm sorry, I said. I didn't think. That's the problem. You don't think about how fast this can go bad. He kissed me then, hard, desperate, tasting like metal and adrenaline. I kissed back just as fierce, hands fisting his shirt, pulling him closer. He groaned into my mouth, lifting me effortlessly. My legs wrapped around his waist as he carried me to the couch, dropping us both down without breaking contact. Clothes came off fast. My hoodie, his shirt, my jeans. His mouth was everywhere. Neck, collarbone, chest. Every touch branded me. When his hands slid into my briefs, I arched off the couch, gasping his name. Tell me to stop, he growled against my throat. Say it now or I won't. Don't stop, I panted. Please. He didn't. Then he flipped me over, pressed me into the cushions, and finally, pushed inside. I saw stars. Mine, he whispered against my spine. Say it. Yours, I gasped. Look, it's yours. We stayed like that, tangled and sweaty, his weight grounding me. You okay? He asked, voice rough. I nodded, too blissed out to speak. He carried me to his bed, not the guest room, cleaned us both up with a warm cloth, then pulled me against his chest. I traced the lion tattoo. Tell me something real. He was quiet so long I thought he wouldn't. My father was killed when I was 19, he said finally. Shot in the street. I took over the family the next day. I stilled. I've done things, he continued. Bad things. To protect what's ours. I won't apologize for it. I'm not asking you to. He tilted my chin up. But you need to know, being with me isn't safe. Ever. I kissed him softly. I'm still here. For now. For now, I agreed. His phone rang again. He ignored it. It rang a second time. He cursed, reached for it. Yeah, he answered. I watched his face go blank. When? I'll be there. He hung up, already moving. What is it? Vitali hit one of our clubs. Shots fired. 2 of my men down. I sat up, clutching the sheet. You're going there now? I have to. Luca. He pulled on clothes fast. Black jeans, shoulder holster, gun. The transformation was chilling. Boyfriend gone. Boss in his place. He knelt on the bed, cupped my face. Stay here. Doors lock automatically. Marco's downstairs. Do not leave. I nodded. I'll be back. Then he was gone. I sat in his bed, sheets smelling like us, heart racing. 2 hours later, my phone lit up with a news alert. Breaking, shootout at downtown nightclub. Multiple casualties. Police suspect organized crime, asterisk. Attached was a grainy photo of Luca walking out of the club, blood on his shirt, gun in hand, face cold as ice. The caption, suspected Rossi family boss leaves scene. My stomach dropped. This was real. People were dead. And the man I'd just given myself to had probably killed them. I should have been terrified. Instead, I pulled his pillow close and waited for him to come home. Because I was already too far gone. He came back at 4:17 a.m. I knew because I'd been sitting on the couch in one of his t-shirts, lights off, city glowing through the windows, watching the same news clip on mute over and over, Luca walking out of the club, blood on his white shirt, gun still in his hand, eyes dead. The elevator dinged. I didn't move. He stepped into the penthouse, silhouette first, then the rest of him. Shirt gone, just the shoulder holster over bare skin, dried blood streaking his forearm. He looked exhausted, beautiful and terrifying. He saw me instantly. "You're awake." "Couldn't sleep." I nodded at the TV. "That you?" He glanced at the frozen frame of himself, then killed the screen with the remote. "Yes." "Did you kill anyone tonight?" He didn't answer right away. Just walked to the bar, poured whiskey, downed it in one go, poured another. "Two Vitali soldiers pulled weapons in my club," he said finally. "They shot first. My men are in surgery. One might not make it." "That's not what I asked." He turned eyes flat. "This guy. I killed them. One with my hands. One with this." He touched the gun at his ribs. My throat closed. He crossed the room, stopped a few feet away like he was giving me space to run. "You wanted real," he said quietly. "This is real." I stood up slowly. His t-shirt hung to mid-thigh on me. I walked to him until we were toe-to-toe. "Take it off," I said. He frowned. "What?" "The holster. The gun. Take it all off." He hesitated, then unbuckled the holster, set it on the coffee table. Pulled off his boots, socks, jeans, until he was naked except for blood and bruises. I took his hand, the one with split knuckles, and led him to the bathroom. Turned the shower on hot. Pushed him under the spray. He stood still while I washed him. I used my hands, soap, everything gentle. Blood swirled pink down the drain. I cleaned his chest, his arms, the cut above his eyebrow. When I reached his hands, he flinched. "Sorry," I whispered. "Don't be." His voice cracked. I rinsed him, then stepped in fully clothed, letting the water soak the t-shirt. Wrapped my arms around his waist and held him. His head dropped to my shoulder. For the first time since I'd met him, he let me hold him up. We stayed like that until the water started to cool. I toweled him dry, bandaged the worst cuts, made him drink water. Then I took him to bed, his bed, and pulled him down with me. He curled around me from behind, face buried in my neck, one arm locked tight like he was afraid I'd disappear. "I'm still here," I said into the dark. He didn't reply, just held me harder. Morning came too fast. His phone hadn't stopped buzzing since sunrise. By 9 he was dressed again, black suit, fresh gun, and pacing while he took calls in Italian too rapid for me to follow. I made coffee, brought him a mug. He muted the call. "I have to go out." "Again?" "Retaliation's coming. I need to stop it before it hits the streets." I set the mug down. "Take me with you." "No. Luca. You're not part of this." "I became part of this the second I kissed you." I stepped into his space. "You don't get to lock me up and disappear every time things get bloody." His jaw worked. "If you're with me, you're a target. Then teach me how to not be an easy one." He stared at me for a long beat. "Fine," he said finally. "But you do exactly what I say. No arguments." 30 minutes later I was in the back of an armored SUV, Marco driving, Luca beside me, another car following. We went to a warehouse in the industrial district. Armed men everywhere. They nodded at Luca like he was a king. Inside, a man was zip-tied to a chair, face swollen, bleeding. I stopped breathing. Luca glanced at me. "You sure?" I nodded even though my stomach rolled. The man spat blood. "Rossi, you think this scares us? Vitali will burn your pretty boy alive." Luca moved so fast I barely saw it. One punch, the man's head snapped back. "Wrong answer." He turned to me. "This one was at the club last night. He knows who ordered the hit." I swallowed. "Ask him." Luca's smile was ice. He switched to Italian, voice low and lethal. The man started talking fast. 10 minutes later, Luca had a name, Dante Vitali, cousin to the head of the family, ambitious, reckless. We left the warehouse. The man stayed tied. I didn't ask what would happen to him. In the car, Luca was silent, staring out the window. I reached for his hand. He let me take it. Dante's coming for me, I said quietly. To get to you. Yes. So what do we do? He looked at me then, something fierce in his eyes. We end this tonight. How? Old school. Sit down. Neutral ground. If they refuse, we hit them harder. He made calls the entire drive back. By the time we reached the penthouse, it was set. Midnight, abandoned theater downtown, both sides unarmed, 10 men each. I watched him prepare, guns checked, men briefed, contingency plans layered. At 11:30 p.m., he pulled me into the bedroom. If this goes wrong, he said, hands framing my face, Marco will take you out of the city. There's money wired, new ID, everything you need. I'm not leaving you. Kai. No, I kissed him hard. We do this together or not at all. He rested his forehead against mine. You're insane. Takes one to know one. He laughed, short, broken, then kissed me slow, deep, like it might be the last time. Midnight. The theater was dark, dusty velvet seats, stage lit by a single spotlight. Vitali arrived with Dante at the front, tall, blonde, smug. Luca stood center stage, me one step behind his left shoulder. His men fanned out. Dante's eyes locked on me. So this is the little slut causing all the trouble. Luca's hand twitched toward the gun he wasn't supposed to have. Talk about him again, Luca said calmly, and this sit-down ends with you dead. Dante smirked. Big words for a man who's losing territory. They argued, territory lines, respect, blood debt. I zoned out until Dante said, give us the boy. Clean slate. Luca laughed. Over my dead body. That can be arranged. Guns appeared everywhere, both sides breaking the rules. Chaos. Shots echoed. Luca shoved me down behind the orchestra pit. Stay low. He returned fire, precise, lethal. I crawled toward the side exit, heart slamming. Then pain, white hot in my side. I looked down. Blood blooming through my shirt. I'd been hit. Everything slowed. Luca's roar cut through the noise. He was there in seconds, pressing his jacket to the wound, face terrifying. No, 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 Kai, look at me. I tried. Vision tunneling. Stay with me, baby. Please. Black spots. Last thing I heard. Him screaming my name as he carried me out. Then nothing. I woke up to the steady beep of machines and the sharp smell of antiseptic. White walls. For in my arm. Pain radiating from my left side like fire. Hospital. Luca was asleep in the chair beside the bed, still in the blood-stained shirt from the theater, head dropped forward, one hand wrapped around mine like he'd never let go. I shifted and winced. The small sound woke him instantly. His eyes flew open, wild until they focused on me. Kai. His voice broke on my name. He leaned forward, gripping my hand tighter. You're awake. How long? I croaked. 2 days. He looked like he hadn't slept more than an hour total. Dark circles, stubble thick, hair a mess. Bullet grazed your ribs. Clean through. No organ damage. You lost blood, but you're going to be fine. I exhaled shakily. The sit down. His jaw tightened. Ended after you went down. Dante's dead. I put 3 in his chest before his men dragged his body out. They ran. War's on hold, for now. They know what happens if they touch you again. I closed my eyes for a second, processing. You carried me out. Like hell I was leaving you there. I looked at him, at the man who'd killed for me, bled for me, held me while I blacked out. I love you, I said quietly. He froze. I know it's fast. I know it's insane. I know your world is dangerous and I'm probably stupid for saying it, but I love you, Luca Rossi. Fake turned real somewhere along the way, and I don't want to go back. He stared at me like I'd handed him the world. Then he stood, leaned over the bed carefully, and kissed me, soft, reverent, pouring everything he couldn't say into it. When he pulled back, his forehead rested against mine. I loved you the second you walked up to me in that bar, he whispered. Stupid, brave, beautiful you. I just didn't know how to keep you without breaking you. You're not breaking me. I might. Then I'll break with you. He laughed, what, disbelieving, and kissed me again. Over the next week, he never left my side. Slept in the chair, showered in the tiny hospital bathroom, worked from his phone while holding my hand. Miho visited once, took one look at Luca hovering like a guard dog, and declared, yeah, you're never getting rid of him. Congrats on the Mafia husband. Jay sent flowers with a card, asterisk glad you're okay. Sorry for everything, asterisk I threw them in the trash. When I was finally discharged, Luca took me back to the penthouse. Our penthouse now, he said. He carried me over the threshold like we were married, ignoring my protests that I could walk. The first night home, he tucked me into his bed, careful of the bandages, and just held me. 3 weeks later, stitches out, doctor approved, I ambushed him in the kitchen. Pushed him against the counter, dropped to my knees, and took my time reminding him exactly who he belonged to now. He returned the favor on the marble island, then the couch, then finally in bed, slow, deep eye contact the whole time until we were both wrecked. After, tangled in sheets, he traced the fresh scar on my ribs. I'm getting out, he said suddenly. I propped up on an elbow. What? Not all of it. I can't. Blood in, blood out. But the worst parts, the guns, the hard stuff, I'm stepping back. Handing it to my cousin. Keeping the legitimate businesses. Restaurants, clubs, real estate. I searched his face. Because of me? Because of us. He cupped my cheek. I want mornings where I don't have to check for threats. I want nights where the only blood on my hands is from cutting onions for dinner. I want you safe. I want you forever. My heart flipped. Forever's a long time with a mafia boss. Ex-mafia boss, he corrected. And I'm selfish enough to want it anyway. I kissed him, slow and sweet. Then you've got it. 6 months later. We're at the same bar where it all started. I'm in his lap at the corner booth, his hand on my thigh like always. Jay walks in alone this time. Sees us. Freezes. Luca lifts his glass in mock toast. Jay turns and leaves without a word. I laugh into Luca's neck. Still satisfying? He asks, amused. Immensely. He tilts my chin up. Be my real boyfriend? I grin. I already am. Later, back home, ring box in his pocket burning a hole. He waits until we're on the balcony, city lights below us, my back against his chest. Marry me, he says, sliding the platinum band onto my finger before I can answer. It fits perfectly. I turn in his arms. Yes. He kisses me again, and the city disappears. Fake turned real. Danger turned safety. Stranger turned forever. And I wouldn't change a single bullet wound, a single threat, a single drop of blood. Because everyone led me here, to him. To us. Thank you for watching, everyone. I also want to hear your thoughts about this story, and as you do so, don't forget to subscribe, like and share for more amazing BL stories.